Next tonight at 6, a glimpse from the past that experts say helps better understand the mindset of an Argyle man accused of trying to kill his entire family.
1 week ago today, a fatal house fire in Argyle killed 3 young boys and severely injured their mother. In that week, we've learned that the father, Armin Wan III, confessed to starting the blaze with his brother with the intention of killing his family for insurance money. And
today, News 3 has learned even more about this family and their troubled criminal past. Our Marc Lovicott joins us now with details that, Mark, date back to the 1960s here.
Yeah, we're talking 5 decades, and those details, guys, are extremely disturbing, and for that reason, we want to warn you, our viewers, in advance. But these details, they shed a light on some of the dysfunctional behavior that could, in a way, explain why Armin Wan III and his brother did what they did last week. It's a story that took us to Stevenson County, Illinois, and one you'll only see on News 3.
I feel mostly sad. Sad for everyone involved.
It has been a difficult week for just about anyone who has even heard of the horror in Lafayette County last week. Questions like, how could this happen and why, have become all too common. And they are questions that compelled us to start digging. And as we dug, it led to a horrific story in Dakota, Illinois, about 8 miles south of the Wisconsin border. The Freeport Journal-Standard reports on a case in which children were locked in an attic of a home, an attic with no bathroom, so feces collected on the floor and on walls for weeks, and frequent beatings of all the children, especially to a 3-year-old. One of the children, 5-year-old Armin Wan Jr.
State of Wisconsin versus Armin Wan III.
He's the father of the 2 men who face homicide charges from last week's fire in Argyle. In court 50 years ago, Wilma and Armin Wan Sr. were charged with child neglect and contributing to the delinquency of a minor in what investigators then called one of the worst cases they've ever been a part of. A child services investigator in Illinois reported conditions were so deplorable the children, she said, should be removed at once. They found piles of human excrement in the attic where the children were locked in. Their feet were caked with excrement. One child had it on his face and appeared he had been eating it. In 1963, Wan Sr. pleaded guilty and was sentenced to 1-year probation. It's unclear what the punishment was for Wilma Wan. Flash forward 50 years to last week's fire in Argyle. Experts say they're not surprised based on the family's history.
In the field of family therapy, what we say is that you can trace problems back 8 generations. 8 generations back, you can start to identify certain patterns.
Dr. Daryl Hanusa researches abuse and violence in families. He's not surprised with this abuse and dysfunction pattern. Hanusa says in cases like this, the offenders don't know anything different.
If all you ever learn is to use violence to get what you want, then that's what seems normal. That doesn't excuse their violence, but it certainly does help us understand a little bit about their own journey.
Dr. Hanusa says these cases, recent and past, while traumatic, are stark reminders that we have a long way to go in battling domestic violence, and he says more needs to be done to shine lights on this and provide more services for victims. He says we're lucky here in Dane County to have so many great services available, but he says it takes that person to step forward to end that generations of abuse and prevent it from making its way to another generation.
Wait, 8 generations, wow. That's unbelievable. Another piece of the puzzle and a very sad story, Mark. Thank you very much.
You bet.